Welcome back, writers. We are ready to conclude our lesson on compound sentences that we used The Day the Crayons Quit to help us with that by Drew DeWalt. And so I thought that we could go back and review what we've learned from that author, as well as take a look at if we were to make changes in the sentence, how could that affect our readers? So let's just review the sentence that we took a look at. I love that I'm your favorite crayon for grapes, dragons, and wizards' hats, but it makes me crazy that so much of my gorgeous color goes outside the lines. What have we learned from Drew DeWalt in this sentence? What are some things that we talked about that you have learned as a writer yourself? So you may have said that we start our sentence with capital letters, we end our sentences with periods, we could use commas to list things like grapes, dragons, but we could also use a comma and one of the fanboys to combine two sentences to create a compound sentence, right? So we can take two ideas and put them together with a comma and one of the fanboys to create that compound sentence. So if we take that sentence and we change some things, we want to think about what effect it has on our reader. So here is the first example where something has changed. Take a look at this sentence. I'm going to let you study it for a minute and look at what has changed. Okay, so you probably noticed that instead of commas, periods were put in the place of those commas when we're listing. I love that I'm your favorite crayon for grapes, period. Dragons, period. And wizard's hats, period. Hmm. If we put commas there, what effect? I'm sorry, if we put periods there in place of commas, what effect does it have on the reader? Now it's not really listing for the reader, right? And asking the reader to take breaths and pauses in between. Now it's making hard stops for the reader. So it's telling the reader, okay, stop after grapes. I love that I'm your favorite crayon for grapes, period. That's the end of that thought. Now I'm moving on to another idea. Dragons. Now I'm moving on to another idea. Okay, wait a minute. Now I'm really confused as a reader because I don't even understand what the idea of dragons is, right? So we always, when we're choosing where to put our periods, we want to really think about the effect that it will have on the reader. How will it affect the meaning for the reader? And how will it affect how the reader reads it out loud? That's something we want to think about all the time. Every time we either are writing for the first time or we go back and we're editing and choosing where our punctuation should go. What about this next one? What has changed? Some of you may have noticed that the comma in the fanboy but is gone, right? And so now what we have is called a run on sentence where we have two separate sentences, but they're together and they're not separated with that comma and that conjunction. So it just runs all together and mumble jumbles everything up for the reader. I love that I'm your favorite crayon for grapes, dragons, and wizards' hats. It makes me crazy that so much of my gorgeous color goes outside the lines. This writer didn't even tell me to take a breath as a reader. It just runs all together. So remember, whenever we're writing or whenever we're going back and editing, we have the reader in our mind about how we want the reader to read it. So if we want our reader to stop after hats, we need to put a period. If we want our reader to take a breath and know that they're coming to yet another idea, we want to use a comma and that conjunction to combine those two. What about this last one? So you may have noticed that details of the list are gone, right? For grapes, dragons, and wizards hats, um, it's gone. I love that I'm your favorite crayon, but it makes me crazy that so much of my gorgeous color goes outside the lines. That still makes sense. That's still a sentence that completely makes sense. It's a compound sentence. It uses the comma and the fanboys, but it's two separate sentences that are combined with the comma and the fanboys. It just doesn't have the detail of what the favorite crayon is used for. Again, that is an author's choice. In The Day the Crayons Quit, Drew DeWalt really wanted the reader to understand what the purple crayon was used for, specifically for grapes and dragons and wizards hats. So he added those details. As a writer, you decide, what do you want your reader to know? And you put those details in your writing. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson on compound sentences and the choices that we make as writers when we're trying to have effect on readers. I look forward to seeing you for our next lesson. Stay healthy, drink lots of water, and keep those hands clean. Keep writing too. Enjoy the writing that you're doing, and be sure to continue to share with others. Have a great day.